Meet Alex. A 23-year-old scheduling a doctor's appointment, not for a virus, but for profound, bone-deep exhaustion. The biological clock is lying. They possess the stress profile of a 45-year-old, compressed into the body of a 23-year-old. Morning alarms are met with heavy eyelids. Every notification is a microdose of anxiety, every urgent message, a tiny cortisol injection spiking the heart rate before the day has even begun. The day becomes a gauntlet of micro-decisions, each extracting a tax on energy before noon arrives. This isn't just burnout. This is biological debt. A measurable, rapid acceleration of age, mental and psychological, in a generation that was supposed to be in its absolute prime. Every screen flicker, every urgent message, every crisis, personal, political, global, is a weight on the body. And as Alex stares at the ceiling, fighting the inevitable, a question arises: when your body is running on emergency power, could your chronological age be lying to you? What if your birth certificate is lying to you? Alex is not alone. Across cities, campuses, and offices, a generation is moving through life under constant pressure. Riley, 21, wakes to 47 notifications before 7 a.m. Every ping is a tiny demand, a micro-decision, a cortisol microdose. The commute, the digital apps, the news headlines, all compound, before any actual work begins. This is the survival generation. Unlike previous cohorts whose crises were punctuated and episodic, defined by recovery periods, Gen Z experiences stress as a continuous, layered state. It's not one single war, it's a perpetual, overlapping state of microcrisis, digital, financial, climate, and political. Every decision compounds: what to respond to, what to ignore, which crisis demands attention. Cognitive load accumulates before lunch, before the day truly starts. The body interprets this constant barrage, digital notifications, economic precarity, climate anxiety, as a persistent, low-grade threat. Cortisol spikes. Telomeres fray. Biological debt mounts silently. Studies show Gen Z reports anxiety at twice the rate of millennials at the same age. 73% describe feeling older than they should. The median Gen Z worker changes jobs every 2.1 years, not for advancement, but survival. Allostatic load, the cumulative biological burden of chronic stress, mounts silently, like running a car engine in the red zone for years without maintenance. The visible signs are subtle: slouched posture, dark circles, the look of perpetual depletion. The invisible toll is profound: accelerated cellular aging, hormonal dysregulation, and compromised immune resilience. The system doesn't pause. Notifications don't stop. The body adapts, or begins to break down. The system never stops, and they have no choice but to keep pace. But what happens when keeping pace means constantly running on fumes? We have to look at what this digital overload is physically doing to the brain. Let's return to Alex. It's 2 p.m., and the third cup of coffee barely cuts through the fatigue. Words take longer to form. Decisions, simple emails, text replies, feel monumental. Alex checks their reflection in the phone's black screen: dark circles that weren't there last year, tension in the jaw that refuses to release. This isn't a bad day. This is baseline. The human body has its own optimization matrix. Every decision, every response, every microcrisis triggers hormonal cascades. Cortisol spikes repeatedly. Telomeres, the protective caps on chromosomes, like plastic tips on shoelaces, fray with every stress event, shortening the biological clock. Studies show Gen Z reports anxiety at twice the rate of millennials at the same age. The median Gen Z worker changes jobs every 2.1 years, not for advancement, but survival. Riley's phone lights up, 47 notifications before 7 a.m. Each ping a tiny demand. Each alert a cortisol spike. Every choice compounds. Meals skipped, sleep fragmented, exercise deferred. Alex knows the body keeps score, silently tallying the debt. The visible signs are subtle: slouched posture, dark circles, perpetual depletion. The invisible toll is profound. And measurable: 73% of Gen Z report feeling older than they should. Imagine experiencing your body aging in real time, not over decades, but compressed into years, months, days. Does this feel like your generation? Drop 100 points if it resonates. Alex steps off the train at 8:47 a.m., already 12 minutes late. The phone buzzes: 3 texts, 2 emails, 1 calendar reminder. Each notification is a choice: respond now, flag for later, or ignore and risk consequences. The day hasn't started, and the cognitive budget is already depleted. Energy that could be used for growth or creativity is rerouted to survival. Every choice compounds. Meals skipped, sleep fragmented, exercise deferred. The The career implications amplify this biological debt. Gen Z changes jobs every 2.1 years, not from ambition, but exhaustion. Each transition requires identity reconstruction, new colleagues, new systems, new performance metrics. Peak performance has become biologically unsustainable. By age 25, 67% report considering quiet quitting, not from entitlement, but cellular exhaustion. Riley updates their LinkedIn again, crafting enthusiasm for another exciting opportunity while cortisol spikes with every character typed. The professional mask consumes energy the body no longer has in reserve. Cortisol spikes repeatedly. Telomeres, the protective caps on chromosomes, like plastic tips on shoelaces, fray with every stress event, shortening the biological clock. The visible signs are subtle: slouched posture, dark circles, tension in the jaw. The invisible toll is profound and measurable. 73% describe feeling older than they should. Alex unlocks their apartment at 9 p.m., too tired to cook, too wired to sleep. The body keeps score: every skipped meal, fragmented sleep, and deferred task adds to an invisible ledger shaping cognition, identity, and resilience. Drop an alarm clock if you've ever felt decades older than your actual age. Every generation has faced stress, but why does Gen Z age differently? The answer lies in timing and immersion. Millennials encountered social media as teens or adults, forming identities first in the analog world. Gen Z, however, never knew life without notifications, feeds, and algorithmic attention loops. Riley doesn't remember a world before pings dictated schedules. Alex's earliest memories include screens. Formative years, when stress responses are programmed, occurred entirely inside systems optimized for engagement. Climate anxiety adds a second layer. Millennials absorbed warnings as distant threats, while Gen Z confronts immediate, tangible existential risk. Wildfires, floods, and extreme weather aren't abstract. They are background noise, reinforcing helplessness and compounding microstress responses. Economic precarity completes the triad. Millennials experienced periods of recovery after crises. Gen Z faces unrelenting instability. Job changes, student debt, and short-term contracts leave no intermission for restoration. Each transition demands identity reconstruction, new teams, metrics, systems. Riley updates LinkedIn again, crafting enthusiasm while cortisol spikes with every character typed. By age 25, 67% of Gen Z report considering quiet quitting, not from entitlement, but cellular exhaustion. This is not weakness. It is a physiological response to a historically unprecedented stress delivery system. Algorithmic immersion, immediate climate threats, and continuous economic strain combine to create a perpetual state of microarousal. The body keeps score, even when the mind doesn't realize it. Alex steps off the train at 8:47 a.m., phone buzzing incessantly. Each notification is a choice: respond, ignore, or risk consequences. By 9 p.m., unlocking their apartment, Alex feels too tired to cook, too wired to sleep. The body keeps score: every skipped meal, deferred decision, and deferred rest accumulating biological debt. Drop an alarm clock if you've ever felt decades older than your actual age. The question isn't whether stress exists, it's how it's quantified, internalized, and perpetuated by the ecosystem Gen Z inhabits. This generation isn't merely coping, they are navigating a system engineered to keep them in continuous microtension, and the consequences are measurable, real, and unprecedented. The day ends. Alex locks the apartment. Riley closes the laptop. Notifications stop, briefly. Tomorrow, they'll resume. The biological tally continues. Some Gen Z are adapting. Not revolutionizing, not transforming, just surviving. Smaller ambitions. Quieter lives. Deliberate disconnection. These aren't victories, they are necessary retreats. The system doesn't pause, so they've learned to pause within it. Riley schedules rest days like medical appointments. Alex sets strict notification hours. Boundaries don't erase stress, they slow its accumulation. Telomeres still fray. Cortisol still spikes. But at least the body gains brief reprieve. This is what coping looks like in a world optimized for extraction, enduring rather than thriving. Gen Z isn't weak for withdrawing, they're responding rationally to an unrelenting system. The question remains, will Gen Z reset society or quietly check out? Drop your answer below. Maybe withdrawal is the reset. Maybe endurance is the only rebellion possible. Maybe both. The body keeps score. Gen Z knows the tally. What they do with that knowledge, whether they fight, flee, or simply endure, is still being written.